kids, welcome to this week's Children's Ministry Online. We have some great dancing, an awesome story, and a craft for you all today, so let's get into it.
My soul finds rest in God alone. My soul finds rest in God alone. My soul finds rest in God alone. My salvation comes from Him. He alone is my rock and my salvation. He is my fortress, I will never be shaken. He alone is my rock and my salvation. He is my fortress, I will never be shaken, never be shaken. My soul finds rest in God alone. My soul finds rest in God alone. My soul finds rest in God alone. My salvation comes from Him. He alone is my rock and my salvation. He is my fortress, I will never be shaken. He alone is my rock and my salvation. He is my fortress, I will never be shaken, never be shaken. Never be shaken. My soul finds rest in God alone. My salvation comes from Him. My soul finds rest in God alone. My salvation comes from Him. My soul finds rest in God alone. My salvation comes from Him. My soul finds rest in God alone. My salvation comes from Him. He alone is my rock and my salvation. He is my fortress, I will never be shaken. He alone is my rock and my salvation. He is my fortress, I will never be shaken, never be shaken. Never be shaken. Never be shaken. Never be shaken. I can't help but feel a little down, a little worried when I look around. That's why my hope is in the Lord. I fix my eyes upon the God who gives, 'cause all I need is what I have in Him. That's why my hope is in the Lord. My hope is in the Lord. I belong to Him. He will never let me go. My hope is in the Lord. I can count on Him. My hope is in the Lord. down, a little worried when I look around. That's why my hope
Okay, now it's time to get into our story time for today. We'll be reading from the Jesus Storybook Bible, and the title of our story today is The Young Hero and the Horrible Giant, which is the story of David and Goliath from 1 Samuel chapter 17. God's people had some scary enemies, but the Philistines were the scariest of them all. And now the Philistines had come to fight them. The Philistines had a secret weapon called Goliath. Goliath was a terrifying soldier and, worst of all, a giant. A giant so strong and so tall and so scary that no one had ever been able to fight him and live to tell the tale. So there they were, the Philistines standing on top of one hill and God's people standing on top of the other. Every day, Goliath came out and shouted, "Send your best soldier to fight me. If he wins, we will be your slaves. But if I win, you will be our slaves." No one spoke. No one moved. "Chickens," Goliath bellowed. "Your God can't save you. I'll rip your heads off and have you on toast." His beady, greedy eyes glowered at them hungrily from under his horrible helmet, as if at any minute he really might just gobble them all up. And he laughed his terrible laugh. "Ha ha 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 ha!" It boomed, echoing horribly around and around the dry valley. Well, Goliath might just as well have been a green, slimy monster with 3 heads, because God's people froze with fear. Their eyes glazed over and they turned deathly pale. They knew if someone didn't do something quick, if someone didn't save them. But God would do something. He would send someone to save them. Now, you remember that David was the youngest son of Jesse. Well, his brothers were soldiers in the army. One day, when David brought his brothers their lunches, he saw Goliath, and he saw how scared everyone was. "Don't be afraid," David said. "I'll fight him for you." "You're only a little shepherd boy," the king said, "and Goliath is a great soldier. How will you fight him?" "God will help me," David said. So the king gave David his royal armor to wear, but it was too heavy and too big, and David couldn't even walk. "I won't need this," David said. Instead, David picked out 5 smooth stones from the stream. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Took his slingshot, and then he walked towards Goliath with a step, step, step. Goliath walked towards David. Thud, thud, thud. "You?" Goliath peered down at the small boy. "I'm little," David shouted up to him, "but God is great." Goliath laughed an even terrible laugh than usual. "Ah ha 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 ha!" It went. With just one swing of his giant sword, Goliath could finish this boy off. But David kept going. "It isn't how strong you are or how many swords and spears you have that will save you. It is God who saves you. This is God's battle, and God always wins his battle." David put a stone in his sling, swung it around, and let it go. The little stone flew whiz like a bullet through the air and stuck Goliath. Thud! Right in between the eyes. Goliath stopped laughing. He stumbled and staggered and crashed. He fell dead. When the Philistines saw Goliath was dead, they ran away. And when God's people saw them running away, they cheered. God had saved his people. David was a hero. Well, many years later, God would send his people another young hero to fight for them and to save them. But this hero would fight the greatest battle the world has ever known. Well, we may feel like we're small and itty-bitty, but to God we are strong and mighty, and he can give us the power to do only things that he is able to do. And that's what this lesson taught us about. And I'm really glad that I was able to read this with you all. So now it's time to get into the craft. Okay, kids, so let's start with our craft and the supplies that we are going to need. So to start out with, we're gonna need 2 pieces of paper. I have 2 colored pieces of paper, but like I've said in the past, if you don't have a colored piece of paper, feel free to just get a white one and you can color it all, or you can just use a plain white piece of paper and that will work just as well. So just 2 pieces of paper for today. We're also gonna need our regular scissors, tape, or glue, whichever you all like to work with. And then we are going to need some type of string or something to go across our craft for today. So I am using a pipe cleaner, but if you don't have this, you can just use a regular string. You can use a rubber band or just something around that area that you'll be able to stretch and put across the piece of paper. And then we will need 3 popsicle sticks. Now I know that some of you may not have popsicle sticks. This is totally okay. You can just get some sticks from outside of your home. You can just draw them on, or we're gonna have some leftovers in our second piece of paper, this black one that I have. And you can just cut the shape of a popsicle stick. So when we get to that area, I will show you all how you can do an alternative way. And then lastly, we'll just need our coloring stuff. So I have my markers and crayons. If you all want to get your markers, crayons, paints, or pens, or whatever, you can go and grab that. So while you all are doing that, I'm going to organize this and we'll get into it. All right, so to start out with, we are going to use our red piece of paper or your white piece of paper, whichever one you have. And we are going to take our popsicle sticks, our regular sticks, or if you don't have the popsicle sticks, what you can do is take your second piece of paper and then you'll just draw 3 sticks around the same size. So we'll just do a large rectangle like that, and then we'll divide it into 2. So then from there, you can cut that out, and they will be just the same as using popsicle sticks. It will just look a little bit different, and that is okay. All right. So let me just cut this in half, and then, so we have these 3 pieces, or we have 3 popsicle sticks or 3 regular sticks. Now, if you want to trim your pieces of paper, you can, just so that they're not too big. So now what we're going to be doing is we are going to be making a Y, but with all 3 of these. So it will look like this with your piece of paper, or like this with the popsicle sticks. So I'm going to proceed or continue as if we were using the popsicle sticks. Now my popsicle sticks are pretty large, so I'm probably gonna trim mine down. So we'll just give that a cut. All right, so once you have cut your popsicle sticks or regular sticks into the shape that you would like, we are going to make it in the shape of a Y, just like that. So once you have that, we are going to glue them on here, or tape, whichever one you would prefer. Okay, so now that you have glued your sticks or pieces of paper onto your onto your paper in the shape of a Y, I have some excess glue, so I'll probably just take this piece of paper and clean that up a little bit. But other than that, now we'll get on to the second part. So now we're going to be getting our pipe cleaner. And the pipe cleaner is going to go from here all the way to here. So what we'll do is we'll measure out how far, and you'll want just a little bit of room, so you don't want it to be perfectly straight, just a little bit of leeway, just like that. So then I will cut the pipe cleaner. And we'll glue it or tape it just like that. So just about 2 to maybe 3 fingers below the tops of the popsicle sticks. That's where we're going to glue them to make just a little bit of an arch like that. And remember, if you don't have a pipe cleaner, you can use string or a rubber band or anything like that. So let's tape these onto our Y. Perfect. So now that we have this, it should look like it is a slingshot. So this is the sling part of it, and then this is what you hold when you make the slingshot. So now we're going to take our second piece of paper, and we are going to make some circles on it. So just pick a color, and then we're just gonna draw. So these are going to be rocks or pebbles. So you want these to not be perfect circles. They can have a little bit of roughness to them. Some can be small, some can be big. Perfect. So once you have those, you will cut all of those little pebbles out. Okay, so now that I've cut out all those pebbles, I'll just put all of my scraps to the side, and I should have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now remember my trick, we can just flip them over and nobody will know that we even colored on the other side of them. So if you had just a white piece of paper, you can color these whatever color you want to make it look like a rock or a pebble in the best way. So you can take gray or brown and color those on top of it to try and make a nice rock color. I'll probably add just a little bit of detail to these, that way they look like rocks. Perfect. So now when we're done with those, we are going to glue those all around our project. So we'll take each one and then we'll glue it around our Y. And make sure not to glue it on this part of your craft because we're going to be writing something up there. So right now, this scene should look a little familiar to you. This is the slingshot, and these are the 5 pebbles that David uses to defeat Goliath in that battle. So now, once we have glued all of our pieces onto there, now it's time to write our message that we got from this. And we're going to be writing, "For the battle is the Lord's." And we'll just write that right across the top here. And then that verse is actually from 1 Samuel 17:47. So we'll just kind of write down that verse on here. That way we remember where we got that from. Perfect. "For the battle is the Lord's," 1 Samuel 17:47. And that is going to be our craft today, just as a nice little reminder for you that in whatever battle you may be in, God has got your back. Thanks for joining us for this week's Children's Ministry Online. We hope that you enjoyed this week's dancing message and craft. And remember, if you want, you can have your parents help you post a picture of your craft on our Facebook website by going to the share button of the Calvary Chapel Community Facebook page. Well, we hope that you have a great rest of your week, and we will see you all next week.